So I was like recording a video and then someone from the restaurant next door walked in, so that was really awkward. But basically, I'm bored at work and none of my friends are answering my FaceTime calls, so I thought we'd go through the films that I watched in 2025. Normally I do the books that I've watched, that I've read, but I'm gonna be honest, I read 3 books last year and 2 of them were like shitty romance books, so there's actually no point in doing that, and I've been on such a film kick this year. So first, looking at my Wrapped, I've logged 63 films, reviewed 5, and I watched 118 hours. My most watched actor is Hugh Grant. My most watched director is actually Roger Kumble. Now, I thought, who is this guy? I've never heard of him. He directed Beautiful Disaster and Beautiful Wedding, which were some very shit films that I watched on the 2nd of July with Dylan Sprouse. So, yeah. Now where's my films? But let's go through all the films. We're gonna go through all the films. Wait, I forgot. Where's my diary? There you go. We'll start at the beginning. Older. I should have loaded this, but oh well. Here we go. We start on January 1st. I watched back to back The Time Traveller's Wife and The Age of Adeline. I've already watched these films before. I love them. They're like classics, 2010s rom-com, but they're not comedies, romance films. And I loved The Time Traveller's Wife, the book. So yeah. Then January 7th, I watched Nickel Boys, which came out last year and is one of my top films of last year. If I could recommend, 3 films that I watched last year, Nickel Boys would be up there. It was beautiful and heartbreaking. I actually wrote an essay about it for uni. Then January 14th, Baby Girl. We all knew what we were expecting going into that film, and it met the expectations. Nicole Kidman, what's his face? Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. I know his name. I'm gonna Google it and it's gonna come up and I'm gonna be like, duh. Harris Dickinson. He's actually getting less and less attractive to me the more I see his face, I'm gonna be honest. So maybe we need to like desaturate the world from him for a bit so that I can find him attractive. January 28th, I watched Rear Window for the first time. Oh my gosh, that's like so mean. I can't even know I had to watch that for uni. February 3rd, I watched Back in Action. What is Back in Action? Back in Action. Cameron Diaz and who? I can't see it on there. I'm not wearing and Jamie Foxx. Don't know why I watched that. Don't remember. I rated it 3 stars. He's just not that into you. Didn't like it. 2.5 stars. It's just, I watched that on February 10th. Just like, no. Now, here's the February highlight. 13th, 17th, 23rd, I watched Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy in the cinema 3 times for the rest of February. Once a week. Heartbreaking, beautiful. I mean, just perfect though. Perfect. Bridget Jones is always perfect. March 6th, I watched A Complete Unknown and I rated it 3.5 stars, which I actually enjoyed it. On, looking back, I'd probably rate it 4 stars. I think it was really good. Then I rewatched No Hard Feelings, March 10th. It's funny. 5 stars. Sorry, I give out 5 stars like there's no fucking tomorrow. Like, yep. March 13th, rewatched Clueless. 5 stars again. No, I need to go on to the next page. March 14th, I watched Spanglish. For the first time. I love Adam Sandler, so I'm surprised that was my first time watching it. Again, loved it. Great, amazing. March 17th, watched Mickey 17. Now, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Last year really was a year of like one actor playing two roles. I feel like there were so many. There was Mickey 17, there was Sinners. There was definitely another two films that came out. Oh, I want to say Mission Impossible, but it definitely wasn't Mission Impossible, but like something like that. Like, and I think, like, is that a post-COVID script writing thing? Like, you know, during that time they knew that there was going to have to be limited productions afterwards. Like, were people writing scripts with that in mind, to do one actor playing two roles? Anyway, Mickey 17 was so boring. I think I walked out of the cinema. I did walk out of the cinema. March 24th, Snow White. What the hell was that? I sort of loved it, but also like April 3rd, I watched Mirror Mirror. I was obviously on a bit of a Snow White kick. April 4th, my birthday, a Minecraft movie. Now, that was the day it came out, and I wasn't, you know, I should have known that I was going to walk into the cinema and it was going to be filled with like 13-year-old boys, and that was how I was going to spend my 21st birthday, like watching the Minecraft movie with them all screaming at the screen. But I didn't really know, and that was on me. I did have the Minecraft McDonald's meal at the same time. It was quite fun. April 20th, The Last Showgirl. Now this is in my big 3 films that I would recommend from last year. The Last Showgirl. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just stunning. Like, soundtrack. I've been listening to the soundtrack. That's how you know it's a good film, is if you're listening to the soundtrack. Just Pamela Anderson's performance, everyone's performance. It had such a good combo of like actresses. Like, I love Pamela Anderson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Brenda Song, Kierna Shipka, like Billy Lord. You know, all these people were just insane in it. On the 22nd, I watched Luckiest Girl Alive. I don't know what this... Oh, this was with Mila Kunis. I don't remember that at all, so I don't know whether it was good or bad. I haven't rated it. April 25th. Now this is my 3rd film that I wrote. So, The Last Showgirl, Nickel Boys, and then finally Sinners. Wow, again, been listening to the soundtrack all year. This is April, like, the Sinners soundtrack and the Last Showgirl soundtrack have been on repeat for the rest of the year. Both incredible. Sinners, I forgive them for having one actor playing 2 roles, because it was incredible. It was just, please watch any of those 3 films. You can take anything from this video, watch those 3 films, or one of them. I won't mind if it's one of them. Nickel Boys is very emotionally heavy and devastating. I mean, they all are, but Nickel Boys is definitely the most. Sinners, people were put off by the fact that it was like a vampire film, and look, I don't like those sorts of films, and I loved Sinners, and it's one of my favourite films, so, you know. And not just The Last Showgirl, just stunning. And one of those films that I think some people watch the trailer and think it's going to be one of those like boring artsy films, but it's just, it wasn't that. May 2nd, I watched Another Simple Favor. I'm sorry, like, keep making those films, they're just so silly, and I loved seeing Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively's press tours. They just sort of hate each other, and I'm obsessed with that. 3rd of May, I watched Daddy's Little Girls, which I think I really enjoyed. Oh yeah, that one was good. That was good. It was like heartwarming but sad sort of film. Now, May 8th, I watched... I don't know how to pronounce it. Parthenop. Parthenope. Now, throughout this whole film, I was so confused on whether I liked it or not. There was a bit of a weird, like, incestuous storyline that really kept freaking me out, and I was like, it just feels like you're sort of ruining a slightly great film. And in the end, I rated it 4 stars, and I loved it, and I'd rewatch it. It was just a bit weird, and I kind of loved it for that, but it was also great. I do think that I think I hated the whole end scene, and that's why I didn't get 5 stars, because there was just something about it that I was like, oh, it's a bit unnecessary. Like, I hate when storylines sort of over-explain themselves or like over-end their own story, you know? I don't always think it's necessary. May 27th, rewatched The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill But Came Down a Mountain. One of the best Hugh Grant films ever. It's so cozy, it's so fun, it's so, everything about it. June 2nd, I watched The Phoenician Scheme. I rated it 3.5 stars. It's not one of Wes Anderson's best, it's not one of his worst. I'll keep watching his films, keep seeing what the vibes are, but, you know, it's a Wes Anderson film, you know what you're gonna get. June 27th, rewatched Clueless. Did I watch Clueless twice? Yes, I did. It's because I love that film. Oh my god, I'm only on June. July 2nd, I watched Breathe. Also incredible, with Andrew Garfield. Oh, heartbreaking, beautiful. Based on a true story? Question mark, I think so. Watch it. July 2nd and 3rd, I watched Beautiful Disaster and Beautiful Wedding. This was the shitty Cole Sprouse films. The first one was dreadful. The second one was also dreadful. Don't know why I watched either of them. Sometimes you do. Now, to make up for that, afterwards, on July 3rd, after watching Beautiful Wedding and being like, damn, I fried my brain, I watched Dr. No, and then immediately From Russia with Love. Classic, incredible, love James Bond films, like all of them. I am Daniel Craig, James Bond, like him. Like, I've rewatched his films like a bajillion trillion times. And then July 12th, I watched the F1 movie. Now, I did write a review for the F1 movie. That was one of the ones, and and it's the only one that I feel the need to state. This is my review. I had watched 30 minutes of car ads before the film started, and then I watched 2 hours of ads for literally everything else once the film had ended. And yeah, I still rated it almost 3.5 stars. Yeah, I was in the Everyman, and I got there early, and it was just car ad after car ad after car ad, and I was like, this is a bit ridiculous, it's gonna make me bored of cars before the film's even started. And then the film was nothing about cars and just about advertising quite literally every other thing in the entire world. And I get it, it's an F1 movie, you know, all their courses are covered in ads, so it makes sense. And it didn't take away from the film, it just sort of made me giggle a lot. But that was a great film, and Damson Idris, I love him. I would love to see him as the next James Bond. I think he has the charm and the boyishness to play and like a James Bond for a while. Like, you know, like the I'd say like the early Daniel Craig James Bond, he's a bit like boyish and like hasn't really grown up yet, and then he has to go through all this stuff and then he grows up by the end, right? And that's sort of his whole thing. I think that Damson Idris could, that is his name, isn't it? I think he could have that, it's his name. August 1st, I watched Happy Gilmore 2 on the plane. Never watched Happy Gilmore 1, so I didn't get any of the references, and it was not that interesting to me, but that's because I understand that it was like referencing loads of things in the first one that's like a cult classic. But I do love Adam Sandler. August 2nd, with my mum, I watched Step Up, and then she was like, now we need to watch something, you know, good. So we watched Mid-90s, and I'd never seen Mid-90s. Wow, that's a film. That's a fucking film. August 12th, watched Bugsy Malone. I love it. I love it. Rewatched it. I watched it a bajillion times, and I was in the reception at school. August 13th, watched Superman. I love Superman. I love Smallville, the series. I think that is a great, and I think the cast of the new Superman was quite good, and I think that they will do well. Then on August 16th, I watched Materialists. What? That's so fucking disappointing. Okay, I got to August and someone came in, so I had to stop. So yeah, I think I was at Materialists. If I've already, you know, gotten annoyed about Materialists, then you don't have to listen to this again. But what the fuck was that? I loved Past Lives so much. I've watched it probably three times. Incredible. Celine's song, I mean, heartbreaking. That is just beautiful. And then I watched Materialists, and it's like, what is this? And like, I fear that because she won so many awards from Past Lives, you know, she had all these big companies being like, we'll like back your next film, but as long as it's like this. And you know, you want money to back your next film, don't you? And fine, fair enough, but just don't make a shit film like that. Dakota Johnson, I love her. She can't really act when she's put next to like actors. I think she can only like really act when she's next to actresses, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. August 28th, I watched Goodfellas. Loved it. 5 stars. September 7th, Thursday Murder Club. Yeah, it was kind of banter, and I'm gonna be honest, I've read all the books. It's the sort of shitty books I like to read. I normally, when I'm reading a lot, I'm either reading a shitty book and watching good films / series, or I'm reading really good books and watching shitty films. I like try and balance it out, but I wasn't really reading last year. But if I had been when I was watching Thursday Murder Club, I would have been reading a good book to make up for it. And when I've read all the Thursday Murder Clubs, I've watched good films to make up for it. September 7th, I watched Caught Stealing. That was fun. That was like a fun film. I haven't seen a film like that where I've been like, this is fun. I mean, it wasn't completely fun, but like the whole vibe, the whole energy, I was like, this is cool. This is like, we need more films like this now. September 8th, watched Eddington. No, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really watch Eddington. I was in the cinema with Margot. We were watching it and we did not realise it was a COVID film. No one wants to watch a fucking COVID film, I'm sorry. Not yet, at least. You know. Sorry, we didn't start making like World War II films till like the late 90s, probably the 90s, or the 80s or 90s. Like, give it time. No one wants to be reminded of horrible times such as COVID. We don't need to do it that quickly. Oh my god, you don't need to be the first people to make COVID films, okay? It won't make it the film that people actually watch, right? So we actually walked out and we went into the next cinema room and watched The Roses when it was like 20 minutes in, but that was hilarious. Loved the ending. Okay, September 22nd. Now I'm changing my mind. I'm recommending 4 films that you have to watch this year. Steve. Oh my god. Now really I watched it because it was filmed, part of it was filmed down the road from me and everyone was talking about it. But wow, incredible. I've now bought the book that it's based on to read just because I loved the whole storyline so much and I want to like immerse myself into it in a completely different way. But wow, and the soundtrack, incredible. October 1st, watched One of Them Days. Iggy Palmer, SZA, like hilarious, funny, Maud Apatow, like just funny. It did annoy me at some points, but like it was whatever. October 15th, I watched the first Twilight, and then I went and watched Twilight New Moon in the cinema. I love Twilight. I've seen them both before a few times. It's just so good. November 14th, November 5th, which on my Letterboxd Wrapped said this was my 50th film of the year, and that was High School Musical. Rewatch. Love. Yep. That's my 50th film of last year. Now, November 14th, I watched Mysterious Skin. Now, I did not know what I was watching going into it. It was just recommended on Mubi, and it was recommended as a coming of age film, and I guess technically it is, but I don't know. It was the sort of film that I couldn't turn off, but I sort of wish I hadn't turned on. Yeah. Then November 15th, I watched Bridget Jones's Baby. Again, rewatch. Love. November 25th, I watched The Banana, a documentary. Oh my gosh. Loved it. It made me want to make documentaries. It was so fun. The history of the banana is crazy. I did not know any of this stuff. Like, it was just amazing. It was amazing. And then following that, I watched The Big Wedding, which is a rewatch. Love that film. And then I watched a lot of film this is all on the 25th. And then after that, I watched Shiver Baby for the first time. So good. I can't believe I've never watched that before. So that was all in one day. Banana documentary, The Big Wedding, and Shiver Baby. Then on the 28th, I rewatched While You Were Sleeping. It's just so good. It's so good. On the 2nd of December, I rewatched, for the 4th time this year, Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy. Came out February, keep saying this year, last year. Came out February last year, and from February to December, I watched it 4 times, and every single time I stopped. But I love it. And then to like lighten the mood afterwards, I watched 2 Weeks Notice, which I've watched before, and I love that film. And then on the 7th of December, I watched The Romantics. Now, I had not heard of this, and I don't even know how I stumbled upon it. 2010, incredible cast, incredible 2010s twee set, costumes, everything, like so good. Shittest script ever, but I was sort of still obsessed with it, and I probably would watch it again. I don't remember a single part of the script except just it was bad, but I do remember I loved everything else about it. On the 8th of December, I watched Stuck in Love. No, I don't remember. What is Stuck in Love? Oh, yeah, bit of an odd one. Kind of good. It's got Lily Collins, Nat Wolff, which made me realise, where is Nat Wolff? What's he doing? I haven't seen him in ages. He like ruled those like early 2010s coming of age films. Logan Lerman, Kristen Bell, Jennifer Connelly, which I just can't pronounce her name ever. Anyway, it was quite good. Stuck in Love, 2012. Then on the 8th of December, I watched After the Hunt. And I didn't know how to rate this. Like, I wasn't sure whether I loved it or whether I didn't. I think I need to rewatch it. I think it's a film that I need to rewatch before I can give my proper judgment. December 17th, I watched Wake Up Dead Man. I love the Knives Out films. I hated the second one. Ignored it completely. What always annoys me though is, why do they always make the British people put on silly accents like Daniel Craig? Because I love Daniel Craig. He doesn't need to be putting on that silly accent. It doesn't make sense for his character. Well, it does, because they've written that in, but it doesn't have to make sense for his character. Like, he can not. but it had a great cast. And then December 25th, Christmas, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I couldn't tell you how many times I've watched this. I've watched it at least once a year since I was... when did my parents split up? 8. Since I was 8. Sometimes multiple times a year. There was like a good 3 years where at my dad's house, every time we had macaroni and cheese, we had to watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and so that was like every 3 months for like 3 years. So it's a fan favourite in my house, which is why we watched it on Christmas Day. And then apparently I didn't watch any films in the last week of Christmas. Well, I had all my new books and I was reading and I was very busy. So yeah, those were all the films I watched last year. If you take anything from this video, please watch either Steve, Sinners, The Last Showgirl, or Nickel Boys. Any of those 4 films, and they're all like different vibes. So I'm sure one of them would be a film you'd watch. We can go through the 3 books I read, and if you want, and so you can see how shit I was at reading, but I actually don't want to do that. So